Hey family, we are back, Dr. D and Alicia, and we want to talk about the Cape Coast Castle that we went to yesterday. And our tour guide said that he doesn't call it a castle, he calls it a dungeon. Because the first part is the dungeons that we went through that our ancestors were in. They were dark. There was only like 2 or 3 openings for light. There were probably, they said, hundreds of people there together at one time, and they stayed there for months at a time. So everything that they had to do as humans, they did in that dungeon and stayed there. Just the pain, the suffering that they endured in those dungeons, knowing that when they left, what would happen next, and we'll talk about the door of no return, is agonizing. And then what they heard on top going on while they were in the dungeon was also unbelievable. Lita, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I want to talk about, on top of the dungeons, they had the church situated directly on top of the dungeons. And how could you imagine hearing praise and worship going on and you're suffering in a dungeon?
Yeah.
I thought that was very heartbreaking. And in addition to that, there was a window. They would not let the slaves pass so that the colonizers would see the slaves. They were underneath in the dungeons, and when they passed through, there was a opening, a window, so that they can look through the window to see, what they were doing, or if they were being controlled, unfortunately, if they were being controlled. And it was heartbreaking to me to think that a God so good that we worship and love could be corrupted by man's evil and people and bonding people into slavery and pain and suffering like that. It was very hard to endure, because you could still smell it.
Yeah,
you could
absolutely.
still smell it. The smell was still there. And that to me was amazing, because you're thinking of worship upstairs or worship above you and pain below you. So one thing the tour guide said was heaven above, but hell below.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it was. Heaven above, but hell below. And the castle was huge. Huge, and there were different aspects of the dungeon. There was the location where you went down for water. There was the cell that showed us for punishment, as if the dungeon wasn't already punishment. And